Hi everyone, in this lesson we're going to be looking at something called respiration. So you might be wondering what that has to do with someone eating a bowl of pasta. So hopefully at the end of this video you should be able to answer that question yourself. So if we look at our key words for this lesson, these are ones that you should all know and associate with this word respiration. So we're looking at glucose, which is a very simple sugar, oxygen, energy, water, and carbon dioxide. These are your learning objectives. So in this lesson, we are going to focus on the first three, and we will come back to this fourth one in the next lesson on diffusion. So just a quick recap before we move on. We need to familiarize ourselves with the structure of a cell. So in this diagram, I have just presented you with a basic animal cell, which we're all familiar with. The organelle that we are going to be focusing on is this one here, the mitochondria. The mitochondria is important in this lesson because it is the site of cellular respiration. So we call this cellular respiration because it happens inside every single cell in our body, and the cumulative effect is overall, but strictly speaking, we want to refer to this process as cellular respiration, and it happens inside mitochondria. Now, the mitochondria are important because this is where energy for every single living activity is provided for. So when your cells grow, such as what we learned about in mitosis, when we want to repair things like skin or think thoughts even, all the energy to do those things comes from this process of cellular respiration. And most of the energy to do that is generated in the mitochondria. Okay, so what is cellular respiration? Well, a good definition of that is that it's a chemical reaction that happens in all living cells. So that includes animal and plant cells. Our basic unit of food is glucose. So when we eat a meal, let's say a bowl of pasta, like at the start of that video, all of that complex carbohydrate gets digested down in our digestive system, in our small intestine, in our stomach, into glucose. So glucose is a really basic type of sugar that is broken down in the mitochondria to release energy. So here we just got this little cartoon saying time for a recharge. So you're going to eat food. So when you know yourselves, when you're feeling tired, when you're low on energy, you have a desire to eat. Many of you that are into sports may have had pasta parties the night before a big game. And the reason why you're doing that is because you want to fuel your body up with glucose so you have plenty of energy to take part in the game. One thing I do need to point out to you is that the word respiration or cellular respiration is not to be confused with breathing. Breathing, the proper name for that is ventilation. So breathing is what our lungs do. Respiration is what happens in our cells, and it happens mostly in the mitochondria. Remembering that respiration is the process by which we break down simple sugars to release energy. So how do we break down that energy? Well, we need two things to get started. We need our food source, which is glucose, our simple sugar, and we need oxygen. And we get oxygen from the air around about us, and we breathe that in. Proper word for breathing in is inhaling. So the air that we inhale is rich in oxygen gas. We breathe that in, and we also take in that glucose. Those two things will make their way to all of our body cells, and specifically they will make their way to the mitochondria inside cells. And this is where most of that cellular respiration takes place. So food, glucose, and oxygen travel to the mitochondria, and we release energy from that food there. So just to recap, guys, this is part of your learning intentions, things that you need to know. The reactants, or the things that we need to make this reaction possible, are glucose, which is our energy source, and oxygen. Okay, we don't say air, we must say oxygen. Here I've got a little cartoon summarizing that on the first side of our equation, so always on the left, we have the reactants. Reactants are things that react together to give products. So here we have glucose and oxygen are reacting together, that's what the arrow's meaning, and that happens inside the mitochondria to produce three things: energy for the cell to do stuff, and our waste products, carbon dioxide gas and water vapor. Just to summarize there, when glucose and oxygen are combined in a way for a chemical reaction to take place within the cell, we get three things coming out the other side. We get energy, which is our useful product, and we have two waste products, carbon dioxide and water. So what I'd like to do right now is to pause the video and see if you can write out a word equation. All right, hopefully you were successful in that. This is the word equation that you should have had. Our reactants on the left, glucose plus oxygen, and our products on the right, carbon dioxide gas and water. These are our waste products, and what's crucial is energy, which is our useful substance. So while we're here, let's consider where these reactants and products come from and go to. So I want you to be thinking about what body systems are involved in getting glucose into our cells and oxygen into our cells. Pause the video and have a think about that. All right, so now that you've had a think about it, you should have come up with that oxygen is breathed in from the air. So the body system involved in that is the respiratory system. If you said the lungs, then that's fine as well. That's part of the respiratory system. And glucose enters our cells after a long process of digestion. So that's our digestive system. Those are the two systems there, digestive system and the respiratory system. On the other side, carbon dioxide and water are the waste products of cellular respiration. These are excreted or gotten rid of from the body in a few ways. So carbon dioxide is a gas, so that is exhaled or breathed out, again through the respiratory system. So our two gases are taken in and taken out through the respiratory system in the lungs. Water is also breathed out as water vapor. So on a really cold morning, you might see water vapor condensing as you breathe out in your breath. Water can also be excreted through sweating and through our urinary system, which of course leads to urine from excretion from our bladders and our kidneys. Okay, finally, I'd like you to watch this summary video of respiration. It's a nice little finisher and it's only a couple of minutes. Please take the time to watch it. Once you've done that, I want you to see if you can achieve these three learning objectives. So you should be able to write out a word equation for cellular respiration. You should be able to identify from that equation what are the reactants and what the products are. And you should be able to give me some examples of why cellular respiration is important. So that word explain means tell me why cellular respiration is important. So if you watch that video and you went through the PowerPoint, you should be able to do that. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. You have other instructions on Sector. Please make sure you follow that, and I'll be here if you have any questions.